Ooh.
All right, guys. So, you guys wanted some non-meta decks. We found you a non-meta deck.
It was completely by accident, too.
Yeah, it was by accident. I knew he wasn't playing something meta. I didn't know what he was playing. So, this is Dan Kutzler on 4-color energy.
Pretty standard, probably.
And then we have Aric Grady on Grixis Amulet.
Yeah.
So, this is something that I'm excited to see.
Oh, I am too.
It'll be interesting to see what he's going to do with Primal Amulet.
Probably copy a Torrent of Hellfire, if I would have to say.
Yes, that's what I would be doing with it.
I would be too. Also, you know what other card I'd be copying?
What?
Pull from tomorrow.
That seems like a lot of value.
I mean, I just want to draw a lot of cards. You know me.
Yes, I do. So, we see here what these two players are working with. We see Botanical Sanctum for Dan. He's on the play.
Aether Hub.
Does he have a Cub?
Promo.
Ooh, Glitz. Oh, so he's on the heavy black version of 4-color. So the choices were between an energy deck being on camera or a mono red deck being on camera. We felt energy versus Grixis Amulet would give us cooler games. And it is 4-color energy. It's a different variant of 4-color energy. So, he also has his unstable basic lands.
I really thought you were going to make a pun there. I didn't know what it was.
I don't know what I would have made a pun about either.
I don't know. Alright. Alright, so we got a servant of I.
That's your mic. You need to fix your mic a little bit. It's that one.
Alright, we got a servant of Conduit, aka Elvish Mystic Energy, Elvish Mystic 2.0. I don't know.
I think we just call it Servant of the Conduit.
You right. I got no retort to that.
So we'll see here if Aric has a way to deal with the Servant. We'll see. He could just counter whatever turn 5 play, or I guess turn 4 5-mana play Dan has, or maybe he just doesn't have a 5-mana play. Maybe that just Servant's just
a 2/2 bear.
Oh, he also has a tap land. So he had an untapped land, so he doesn't have a turn 4 play. He doesn't have a play at all. So we have Field of Ruin activation here. Both players are going to get a basic.
That's not going to help Dan get a swamp.
Yeah, but he could get a swamp, he could get a mountain. But that also fixes Aric's mana. He didn't have red mana before. Oh, but apparently
he doesn't need it.
He doesn't want red mana. But Dan does.
Hey, maybe I'm just wrong about Dan's life choices.
I don't know. I don't know his life choices. I know his color preference choices. He wants red mana over black mana currently.
Is he like one to cast a Wall of Virtuoso right here?
Maybe. Maybe he has Whirl of Virtuoso. Maybe he has Chandra. Maybe he has Glorybringer. He has black mana in the form of Aether Hub.
And Servant of Conduit.
It's true.
I know, like...
So do we have a Primal Amulet here for Aric? We do not. He has a flip card in his hand. I don't know if it's Primal Amulet or Search for his Kanta.
I like both of those cards. Is that 6 mana?
Ooh, this might be a Vraska.
That's getting countered.
I would hope so. And yep, Supremo. We're
Yep.
countering that.
I really wish that Vraska was 4 mana.
Why?
So I could have a reason. For modern reasons.
I don't know how to respond to that. That is, printing that card at 4 mana would just be.
I mean,
insane.
I don't mean like it would be that card. I just wish the Vraska from the set was 4 mana.
All right, so we have Primal Amulet.
You can tell because he tapped 4 mana for it, not 2.
Yes, also it's marked lower than Search would be if it was just so. Primal Amulet, for those that you don't know, put it up on the screen for you.
Yep.
It's a 4-mana artifact that makes your instant and sorceries cards cost 1 less to cast. Then whenever you cast an instant sorcery, it gets a charge counter. When there's 4 charge counters on it, it flips into Primal Wellspring, which taps at any color of mana to your mana pool. And when it is used to cast an instant or a sorcery spell, you get to copy that spell. So what he's going to do, he's going to flip that. He's going to try to cast Glimmer of Genius. It's pretty good to have copied. Torment of Hailfire is probably his made win condition.
Pull from Tomorrow is a cool one to copy.
Yeah, I don't know if he has that in his deck. That'd be a lot of very expensive instants and sorceries.
I don't care.
But there is a small chance Aric could just flip this turn, because his instants and sorceries cost 1 less. So Harness Lightning, 1 mana. Glimmer of Genius, 3 mana. Supreme Will, 2 mana.
Essence Scatter, 1 mana. I don't know. You listed a lot of the good ones, honestly.
Yeah. But yeah, Essence Scatter, 1 mana. Negate, 1 mana. Disallow, 2 mana. Although he did miss his land drop, which is unfortunate.
Get good? I don't know. Attune? Right here.
Card's great.
Man, I called it. I'm a wizard.
Well, there's nothing else he's doing in the format if he's tapping a green mana.
Hey, man, he could be cycling a Dissenter's Deliverance or whatever.
You're not wrong. I don't think he'd cycle Dissenter's Deliverance here. I think he would just cast it on the Primal Amulet.
That's the joke.
So we'll see here if... My guess is that if Aric doesn't need to counter something here, he's going to cast Disallow... or Harness Lightning on this Glorybringer.
You see, the awkward thing about it is he doesn't have red mana. And the Aether Hub would have to make red, and you only get 3 energy. Wait, he's supposed to have 2 energy.
Yeah, he should have gotten 2 energy from his...
get Eric's energy count up to 3 before any...
You cannot... you can't halfway resolve a spell. He should have 3 energy from...
No, you get it automatically.
Yeah, he can't half resolve the spell.
Yeah,
But yeah, now that we got that figured out.
Okay, yeah, then what the thing I was about to mention is irrelevant, because if Aric did only have 1 energy with the Harness Lightning,
yeah,
he couldn't kill the
So Aric has the option, he could take a Mountain, he could take another Harness Lightning.
I like just taking Harness Lightnings here.
So he has a Vraska's Contempt, a Harness Lightning in his hand. So here's the question, can he...
Cast everything?
Cast... if he can cast 3 instants or sorceries, if he can make it so... Basically he needs it with the 6 mana he now has once he plays the island. Can he cast 2 spells? Yeah. And if he does...
I don't know.
Yes, you got that trigger.
Yeah. Alright. I don't know.
So if he can cast 2 spells with the 6 mana he's going to have, he could flip Primal Amulet, which will lead to an untapped land, which means he can then use that land to Harness Lightning, get 2 copies of Harness Lightning, kill both the Glint Sleeve Siphoner and the Glorybringer. Well...
How can he Harness Lightning with 1 mana?
Oh, wait, you're right, because that trigger will be gone. But he can then Vraska's Contempt here. He can at least flip the card.
Yeah, no, he still might be able to Harness Lightning with that card.
It's true. So use energy. Now we're going to see Vraska's Contempt on Glint Sleeve Siphoner.
I think I'm just in a boat to double...
Flip Primal Amulet.
Alright, now we're in Value Town.
Oh, yeah. This is where things get great and where things just go crazy.
Is that a pull tomorrow?
I didn't see his hand. You can put your arms down. There is a pull from tomorrow in his hand.
I'm dabbing.
Can you fix your mic?
No. Maybe. Yeah, there we go. Alright, we just might die to Glorybringers here.
So I thought he had a Disallow in his hand. So Eric's at 4. Let's see what...
Wait, he had an Essence Scatter?
Did he have an Essence Scatter in his hand?
Looked like it. I could be wrong.
I'd be very surprised if he had Essence Scatter. He has at least 1 Torment of Hailfire in his hand. That doesn't do much right now. He could cast it. X equals 5, so there'd be 10 copies. Dan... How many cards does Dan have in his hand?
2.
2. So that's... He can do 6 copies, go down to 2. Actually, Torment here is... Makes Dan discard his hand, exile his entire... Or sacrifice his entire board, and go down to 2 life.
That might be worth it.
I would do that.
I'd think about it, but probably do it. Because this seems like in line.
So does Aric see the line?
Alright, hopefully... Oh, I think he does.
He's doing it. So X equals 5. Another copy goes on the stack. We repeat the process of Dan having to decide between sacrificing a non-land permanent, discarding a card, or losing 3 life 10 times. He's at 20 life, so without dying, he can choose to lose 3 life 6 times.
Alright.
So there's 4 instances left. He has 2 cards in his hand. And he has 2 cards in hand, and has 2 creatures in play. Those are only non-land permanents.
Alright.
And so he's going to go down to 2, lose his hand, and lose his board.
Yeah. So, top deck Glorybringer.
Top deck Glorybringer still wins the game.
Yeah.
So there's 8 copies left.
7 times 3 is 21.
7 times 3 is still 21, so we sacrifice Glorybringer.
Yep.
And go down to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Now, are we a good teamer player? Do we top deck the Glorybringer? We've used 2. He might not play all 4. He might only play 3. Does he have Lightning Strike in his deck? That still doesn't win him the game. Now, Aric does need to actually win the game. Does he have a card to actually win the game?
Gearhulk does it.
Does Gearhulk do it? There's another Torment. Okay.
Alright, that'll do it, boys.
Yeah. Some of these Grixis Amulet decks also play Cut to Ribbons. So you can cast Cut on something if there's a creature to kill, and then later you can Ribbons your opponent and use Amulet.
Yeah, that seems like a good way to win the game.
So, we have Grixis Amulet going up 1 game to 0 over 4-color energy.
Alright.
And this seems like it might be a little bit of a tough matchup for energy. So if you guys want to have a way to beat energy, this might be it. It's a deck full of a lot of removal and an endgame plan that is actually pretty hard for Dan to interact with.
Alright, so if this deck was so good, why isn't everyone playing it?
It is not good at all against control decks. It also probably has a horrendous mono red matchup.
You're right.
And I'm not saying it is 100% against Teamer. It can still definitely lose. I mean, you can still stumble. The deck. It's a deck that's still pretty prone to stumbling because it is 3 colors.
Also, like if the Amulet gets countered,
if the Amulet gets countered or destroyed, he's not going to be doing that much. It's going to take him a lot longer to win, and that's what we're going to see from Dan. We're going to see him board in counter magic. We're going to see him board in. I don't know. A lot of Teamer lists have been cutting down on Appetite for the Unnatural, but they have been going up copies of a Braid. Yeah. And a Braid is a really good card against this Amulet deck.
Yep. Also, I lost my train of thought there. I'm sorry.
Oh, okay. But while these players are celebrating, I just want to remind you guys that we are on a variety of different social media pages. I talked earlier about our Facebook page when I mentioned our From the Vault giveaway.
Yep.
And that's facebook.com/TopDeckProductions. We are also on Instagram, Twitter, and is there another one? Or is it just Instagram and Twitter?
We have MySpace.
I don't think we have MySpace. There's an Instagram and Twitter, which is at TopDeck Pro. One of them's at TopDeck Pro. One of them's at TopDeck Prods.
I know the Instagram's like TopDeck Productions, I think.
Okay. So search those and you'll find them. We also have the YouTube page that we talked about earlier. And we also have our Patreon. That's YouTube, or not YouTube, patreon.com/TopDeckProductions. So if you want to help us make improve the stream quality, maybe somehow get Riley Knight in here to commentate a match, that'd be great if we could do that.
I don't think we have enough money for that.
If the Grand Prix circuit comes to Cincinnati and he's commentating one of those, then maybe we can get them. But he's more of the European area, so that's a little bit unfortunate. But it'd be sweet.
Also, thank you, Jagnax, for following.
Yep. Thank you very much.
I probably got your name wrong.
Yep. And then our other sort of social media page that we're on is the one you're on right now. twitch.tv.com/TopDeckProductions. So if you guys want to give us a follow, it'll let you know when we're streaming.
Yep.
We stream 4 out of 5 weekdays.
Yeah. And
you have Tuesdays and Thursdays for Modern, and then also Fridays for Modern. And then, obviously, you have Wednesday Night Standard with, right now, me and Robert Meadows.
Yeah, and when doing pre-release weekends and major comp REL events.
Yep, like IQs, PPTQs. I don't really know of anything else we would be doing.
Winner boxes if GameSwap ever
maybe. I don't know.
And
maybe if Grand Prix trials come back and we get Grand Prix trials again, who knows?
Yeah. But like anything like that, we do stream those when they are happening at the GameSwap Mason store.
And you'll always, if you're following, you'll always be notified. And if you follow if you like us on Facebook, all of our stream schedules are on there. So we have Dan on the play here, and he's got a nice turn 2 play
of Servant
to the conduit, and also he has an interesting main base. I'm surprised these decks play Canyon Slough.
I think it's like the same. Is this a Cycle land?
Yeah, unfortunately, West W Gaming. What time is it in whatever part of
the world
Europe you're in right now? I'm assuming you're in Europe because you said these were not EU-friendly streams, but I'm assuming is it early morning? Probably around like 2, 3 a.m. is my guess.
I want to guess 5 a.m.
Okay. I'm not good with international clocks. Ooh.
Gonti!
We have Gonti, Lord of Luxury. It's almost 3 a.m.
I was close.
I was on the nose.
I'm proud of you.
I am too. It's okay. So, yeah. He's Germany. Well, thank you for spending your early morning.
Get to disallow.
Watching
yes.
us here.
So, what Dan got with the Gonti was
disallow?
Yep.
That's
also,
great.
Thank you, Miley Koopa, and the other person I missed for the other follows.
Oh, we have someone watching from Jamaica. That's pretty cool.
Hey! Oh, wow. It's the same time in Jamaica here.
Yeah, they're in the same time zone.
I didn't know that.
Yeah. I might be going to Jamaica next summer. I don't know.
For what?
It's possible I'm going there for family vacation.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, my grandparents' and parents' anniversaries line up in a way so it's like 30th and 50th in the same year.
All right.
So
also,
we'll
if
be
you guys
doing
don't
that.
know, it is 8:51 p.m. here in Ohio.
It is 8:51. So if you're watching from Ohio, thank you. We are also watching from Ohio.
No.
So we're in GameSwap Mason in Cincinnati, Ohio.
Yeah. I say what Dan does here now. He doesn't care what happens. Like, he's a disallow right now.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Counter magic. He also has a negate in hand, I'm pretty sure. So he doesn't have that quick of a clock yet. I think he's fine playing another threat here.
Oh.
And that's a pretty good one. All Aric can really do here is have some sort of spot removal spell. Yep. And then he has I believe it's a 3-turn clock. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So yeah, that's assuming that some spells are cast. That would be a 3-turn clock, but we see a counter spell here. But now that Dan knows he has disallow from the Gonti and negate in hand, I think he's perfectly fine trading 1-for-1 here.
Oh yeah.
If Aric wants to play a spell like Glimmer of Genius to get ahead in a 1-for-1 race, he's not going to be impacting the board, and the board's what matters here.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
So Gen X says that he has a big cash tournament coming up, and he's watching to see what he can defeat energy decks. There are a lot of energy decks.
All right.
I don't have a great answer for you on how to actually just beat energy decks. Control decks normally have a good game 1 matchup, and then if you know, you have to be very careful on how you navigate the post-board games. You have to make it so you don't just lose if they negate like your sweeper or your like one of your removal spells or one of your counter spells.
Yep.
But if you want to beat control decks or beat energy decks, I would either go with a control deck, or if you're just worried about teamer energy specifically, I would go with 4-color energy. You're gonna have a bit better of a late game and you're gonna have a bit better of a just like if you're top decking.
Is that an oh, that's an Hour of Devastation. Oh baby.
Oh, is there an Hour of Devastation?
Yeah, an
that's gonna be pretty great to counter.
If
you're Dan, and that's why he wants these counter spells.
If he can't counter anything right now.
Yeah, he can. With Gonti, you don't have to pay the colors. You can just pay any color of mana.
No, I mean before the glint sleeve. He couldn't because he didn't have energy for the servant or actually blue mana on his own. So
that's a little unfortunate. He seems to be missing some lands, but is he gonna play? If he plays into this Hour of Devastation, this is gonna be huge.
Yeah.
So Aric, this is huge for Aric. Aric gets to play Glimmer of Genius, resolve that, and then he gets to untap and just slam this Hour of Devastation. And this is what I was talking about. Like, these control decks, this is one of the things that you can... Ooh.
Oh, why do you care?
Why are we... So, I think what he's trying to do here is he's trying to get Dan to use the energy to make a Thopter, which he's going to do. And that way another Whirler Virtuoso isn't nearly as bad. I think I would have just taken the opportunity to resolve Glimmer of Genius. That's something that's really hard to do against Teamer, is find an opening.
And that was a great opening. Yeah,
that was a great opening to slam Hour of Devastation. You're at 12. The Thopter token that could have been made. It's not like he can even make a Thopter token. If he makes a Thopter token, it just gets swept up in the Hour too.
We need a blue source here by Dan.
Yeah, so he still has... Now he has, like, having access... Oh, he just doesn't have a land, and he has a Skyship in hand that he can't cast.
Okay, so, this disallow is going to be great right here.
So Primal Amulet, and this is probably going to get disallowed, is my guess. Dan can't afford to just not do anything this turn.
Boom!
But yeah, this is what I was saying. Like, if you can find a spot where you get to stabilize as a control deck, it's going to be very hard for any of the energy decks to come back. Yeah, so... And it works the same way with, like, blue-white. If you get to land a Fumigate or a Settle the Wreckage, take out their threats, you can easily just take over the game, no matter what blue-white deck you're playing.
A slight misplay here from Aaron. He could have killed the Hydra with Trigger on the stack.
Does he have a removal spell to do that with?
Yeah, he has a Lightning in hand.
Okay.
Just slight misplay.
Yeah, let's see. He may have wanted to save that. We'll see what... He's not doing anything, so... It looks like he's going to be opting to cast Glimmer of Genius here. And sees double... Is it double Glimmer?
Yep.
I don't think you can keep both of them. I think you can maybe afford to keep one. I do not have a lot of experience with the Marionette Master deck. I've played against it about one time on Magic Online when I was playing blue-black control. I just countered all their Marionette Masters, and that worked out for me. But
what does Marionette Master do again?
So it's a 6 mana, I think it's a 0/1 that has Fabricate 3. And then whenever an artifact is put from the battlefield into the graveyard, opponents lose life equal to its power. So what you do is you make a crap ton of energy treasure tokens with like treasure maps, and then you also play things like Renegade map, and then you 1/3, and then you sacrifice them when you have a 4-power Marionette Master,
and you just need 5 of them.
Yeah, you just kill them.
That deck seems sweet.
Yeah, it's definitely a sweet deck. You some of them play Anointed Procession.
I know that card.
Yeah, so yeah, the fact that this Bristling Hydra is still on board is problematic for Aric. I think the chance he had to kill the Hydra, he really should have taken it, because now he might not get a chance.
Dan still not having blue mana of his own is not great.
Yeah, so I think what's going to have to happen here is Aric is going to end step. Are you sure he has a Harness Lightning in hand?
I think so.
I don't see one.
You might be blind.
I could be blind.
Yeah, you're the one with glasses here. I'm not. Yeah, Hornet. You saw that Hornet.
Okay, so he's high stars. Is he doing? He's not doing this in combat. Thank God. But yeah, so he's gonna give it hexproof, and then he gets to untap while Dan has no energy and Vraska's Contempt the Hydra.
Yep.
And I'd be very surprised to see anything like Blossoming Defense come out.
I'll laugh my butt off.
Now, how many... Now, Aric does not have another removal spell in his hand, so any creature off the top of the deck kills him. So I think Aric actually should have waited to do that until Dan goes to combat.
Oh, he can finally get blue mana.
So he can get blue mana, which is nice, but this is the turn Aric needs where he needs Dan not to have a creature. He does not have a way to kill Skyship.
All right.
And Skyship is still lethal even though Aric is at 6. So if Dan has a creature...
Instant?
No, it's not.
All right.
And Torment of Hellfire doesn't do anything. It's the amount of processes Dan has to complete for Torment is not lethal. So he can just pay a bunch of life and it just won't do anything. Torment is not a good card when you're behind on board. And behind on life total and just behind in general.
Just do it, Dan, if you have it.
He does not have the creature, so Aric has time. And he drew, what is that, a Fatal Push? Well, Fatal Push does not deal with boat. You cannot push a flying boat.
I thought you could.
I mean, technically you can, but it doesn't do anything.
Yeah. People forget, like, you can push valid, like, things that it wouldn't kill.
Every creature is a valid target for Fatal Push.
Yep.
Wait, does Dan have a Scarab God in his hand?
I think he's just playing too conservative right now.
Yeah, so Dan doesn't know. He obviously does not know that Aric has... So I think it's not like you're going to catch him at a point where he doesn't have a counter spell if he has a counter spell. So, like, you can't tap him out or anything by playing a bunch of threats. So I think you just keep jamming threats and force Aric to have it every single time.
I mean, he does have negate, so I think he's just, like, waiting to be able to go Scare God with negate backup.
That's fair.
Like, Dan's in no rush to win the game right now.
I would be if I was Dan. I want to take this opportunity that I have where...
Is he feeling fine?
No, he played... Oh, did he reveal it? It's that top card. The top face down card on his hand. I just make sure it's revealed.
Alright. He needs another blue source if he wants to go Scarab God negate.
That is true, but most of these decks don't play 2 islands.
Alright, just go Scarab God then, Dan.
So the fact that we're nowhere near Scarab God with negate makes me just want to slam the Scarab God. If he has a counter spell, okay, then you're not going to be able to crew. But if he has just a single target removal spell, then that's great. But we see 4 mana here out of Aric.
I think he's might just go overload Torment of Hellfire right here.
So there'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That's only 9. So Aric has Dan has 3 cards in hand. Goes to 2. So then he gets to keep either 1 card in his hand or the Skyship.
Or he just negates it.
Yeah, or he just negates it. I mean, yeah, obviously that's... I mean, I'm thinking from Eric's side, like, if he doesn't have negate, what happens? Ooh, there's a blue source.
And now Dan probably feels a lot more...
I think Dan just wins here. Unless I'm wrong and he doesn't have Scarab God. I'm pretty sure I saw a Scarab God.
I like to think you're right sometimes.
I also like thinking I'm right. It makes me...
Feel good inside.
Makes me happy. Is this Scarab Gun? Yep. If this resolves, I am pretty sure Eric's going to die.
Long, painful death.
There's a Torment, there's a land, and there's one more card that I cannot tell. Oh, it's a Fatal Push. That's right.
We discussed that earlier.
Yeah. So, Aric, you are dead.
Push the boat.
So that's gonna be game 2, and that's what's normally happens in these like control-ish matchups versus Dan. I'm not so inclined to call Grixis Amulet a control deck. I would say it's more of like a controlling combo deck. Because it is playing these sort of dead-ish cards.
In some matchups.
Like Primal Amulet and Torment of Hailfire until he finds the combo.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I don't think these players are going to change that much going into the sideboard. If I was Aric, though, I would have just played that Torment of Hailfire. You can't beat him casting a creature. And so if he draws one, it doesn't matter, you're just dead. And if he has a counterspell, if Dan has a counterspell, you're just going to lose, no matter what.
Oh, yeah.
So you can't play around a counterspell. And if Dan has a counterspell, and you're saying, okay, you have a counterspell, so I'm not going to do anything, and hope you don't play into the single target removal I may have, Dan is just going to have the counterspell for any single target remover Aric may have, so he's not going to play around single target removal. So I think if you're Aric there, you just have to go for it and make it so that Dan has to discard his hand, go down to 2, that way another Torment's lethal, like something... I don't know if he runs any other kind of like direct damage, but if he does, then that would be lethal. It makes your Glimmers a lot more live draws. Yep. It gives you a lot more live draws.
I think, like, first, can we move the energy on Aric's?
Yeah. We do not get to start the game with energy.
Like, I think, like, one of the biggest things, like, me even personally is, like, I'm trying to play around cards I just can't beat anyways.
Well, if you try to play around cards you can't beat, like, you can't beat them. You can't play around, so don't play around them.
Yeah. Like,
and that's something I've seen a lot of players do.
Yeah.
And it's kind of a mistake.
It's like, I know Hearthstone again, but, like, whenever I play against Paladin decks, like, I'm just like, I can't beat a Consecration right here. Oh, well.
Yeah, so you, like, when you are going into, like, the early turns, and you just say, oh, I don't think my deck can beat a Wrath. If you don't think your deck can beat a Wrath, then you can't play around a Wrath. But there are some times where you only can't beat it in your head. Like, if you play correctly, like, you can, like, energy, a lot of players are like, oh, if I get fumigated, I'm going to lose. So it's like, no, you can play 1 or 2 threats, hold up a counterspell, and then try to ride those threats to victory, and then if they fumigate you, and you can't counter it for some reason, then you can hold back threats. So you can always choose to play around a sweeper.
I don't.
Well...
I actually do.
You also don't play that many aggro decks.
I only play aggro decks on Hearthstone.
Yeah, so...
Glimmer.
So Hydra's going to resolve. And Hydra is one of these blue-black, blue-red, black-red X decks.
Worst nemesis.
Yeah, Hydra's very hard. Like, you normally have to 2-for-1 yourself to deal with a Hydra. Or you have to, like, 1-for-1 a Wrath.
Yep. Yeah, it's like, so typically, like, you can compare cards versus decks, like Batman versus Joker, but no, this is like freaking, oh, what's a bad villain? This is like freaking, oh god, like...
I don't know where you're going with this.
So, I'm not trying to think of a very bad villain. It's like the Box Ghost versus Danny Phantom, okay? You know Danny Phantom's gonna win!
The Box Ghost. Oh... I'm glad you said that. That made me happy.
Yeah, like, right now, like, this person hides as, like, freaking Danny Phantom, and, like, this deck's the Box Ghost. Like,
this deck is not the Box Ghost.
Okay, fine. It's, what's another...
Can we just not make Danny Phantom references? I'm okay with, like, unless you guys really know your Danny Phantom, which I actually kind of do know my Danny Phantom. I've recently, like, in the past, like, 2 years, like, watched all 3 seasons. Yep. It's pretty great.
So what's that one hunter dude that always puts up a fight with Danny, but Danny just wins until, like, he gets upgraded?
Oh, the skull guy.
Yeah.
I don't remember his name.
Yeah. That feels more appropriate. Like, they have the tools. Like, they just gotta get there. But, like, it's Danny Phantom.
It's Danny. You can't beat Danny Phantom. Bristling Hydra just is Danny Phantom, apparently.
Yeah.
I'm gonna get my Bristling Hydras altered to be Danny Phantom.
Like, I just kind of think of, like, any, like, bad villains to, like, reference, like, Superman or anything, and, like, it's just, like, Box Ghost.
Yeah.
All right, so
Vladimis. I just built the blue-white cycling deck on Moto. I do really like it a lot. I think it has a lot of potential.
now what's it do?
So you're basically a blue-white control deck.
Does it play Drakehaven?
It does play 4 copies of Drakehaven.
Woo, baby!
You play Abandoned Sarcophagus. You know what that does?
What does the look on my face tell you?
I don't know. So it's a 3-mana artifact that says if a card with cycling would be put into your graveyard and it was not cycled, exile it instead.
All right.
And then it lets you cast cards with cycling from your graveyard.
Okay.
So if you cycle your Hieroglyphic Illuminations,
You get to cast in the graveyard.
yeah, you can cast from your
baby.
graveyard. You could cast your Renewed Faiths from your graveyard.
You can cast your...
You can cast Cast-Outs from your graveyard.
You can cast your... Think Twice from the graveyard. Wait, no. Wrong card.
No. Can't cast Think Twice. Well, I mean, technically, you can cast Think Twice from your graveyard, but not in Standard. I played a very interesting match against Blue-White Approach, or not Blue-White Approach, Blue-White Gift.
You can cast your Street Race from the graveyard.
That is technically true. But I played an interesting match with Blue-White Gift with Blue-White Cycling, and I got decked both games. Because I would have won the game. He was out of threats.
All right.
But we were both down to 10 cards in our library.
All right.
And he had Ibni Rivulet.
All right. Oh.
And so I died to Ibni Rivulet a lot. But here, this was a nice exchange for Aric. He got to cast a Torrential Gearhulk, and that got to eat a Bristling Hydra. And that's one of the really easy ways you can deal with a Bristling Hydra from these blue decks.
How?
Eating it with Bristling Hydra. And now, does he have an Hour of Devastation in hand? I don't think so, because he would be snap playing it here. But that would be huge if he had Hour of Devastation in his hand.
I'm an Hour of Devastation.
I don't. So he doesn't. He wouldn't have contempted there if he did.
I agree.
I don't agree with him tapping his mountain there, though. I think he should leave some form of red mana untapped.
He has Aether Hub.
Some form of free red mana untapped.
All right. Screw you, Jacob Abdo.
What? So let's see here. Oh, there's also you play Countervailing Winds instead of Disallow in the blue-white cycling deck.
Oh yeah, where counters.
Yeah, Countervailing Winds is great.
It's a graveyard.
Counters equal to the number of cards in your graveyard if they don't pay that.
It's 3 mana still though, right?
Yeah, it's 2 and a blue.
Alright.
So we'll see here. Is this I think this Gearhulk is trying to race the energy deck.
Alright, that may or may not work.
It's not going to be blocking that much.
Dan needs to do something here. I know that's obvious, but...
So yeah, but if he just has something like a Harness Lining, something like an Abrade,
or
even just a Whirler Virtuoso.
I think he does.
The Whirler Virtuoso is going to let him slow the game down a lot.
Except if he goes Hour.
Well, yeah.
But you're not being Hour from this position anyways, so why play around it?
Well, you can't. I don't know if Dan has any kind of counter magic in hand.
Oh, he might. Yeah, he might. I don't know.
So it looks like there's a Supreme Will. Is that a Supreme Will in Aric's
I see
hand?
Supreme Will. Oh.
So I have a feeling that's going to counter this Whirler Virtuoso.
The second one.
I actually don't know if you counter the second one. So the second Whirler Virtuoso, what he's basically saying there is he countered a 2/3 that made 3 energy.
Yep.
You can't, the second Whirler Virtuoso is always redundant because you're not spending energy into the second Whirler Virtuoso. Oh, he does have Hour in his hand.
No, he just drew it.
Oh, he just drew it?
Yeah.
Still, that's gross.
I know,
Let's wipe your board and not kill my 5/6.
Yeah, Dan should have held back on the, on that, good old, second Virtuoso.
Well, if he doesn't have does he have a counterspell in hand? Oh,
okay. Make a few Thoughters, I think.
So Aric has demonstrated that he does this play when he can cast Hour both times in 2 different games now. He opts to kill the Whirler Virtuoso, force Dan
exile it.
Well, get rid of it off the battlefield, spend some energy, and then he's going to cast Hour in a later turn.
Exiled. That Warlow's exiled?
It is.
No, like, because the way Dan has been sent of his graveyard, the previous card that Verostic attempted.
Yeah, so...
Okay, never mind. I'm just confused. Dan just has his graveyard weird to me.
Yeah, you're fine. It's okay. So, also, that was a pretty juicy spot to Hour of Devastation, so Dan might not play around it. Is this Scarab God? Okay.
Words right out of your mouth.
Does he have a counterspell for this? He would want to counter this, but he can't use a Supreme Will. So, nope, there's no counterspell. And now, it is going to basically get bounced back to his hand because of Hour of Devastation. Hour of Devastation isn't that great against the Hour of Devastation, the set, Cycle of Gods, because of how they don't have Indestructible, they just have return this to your hand.
Yeah.
But here's Hour that Aric slams down. So now does Aric have a way to counter or exile the Scarab God when Dan recasts it?
Yeah.
Because if he does, like, Aric is now going to kind of try to play like a tempo game.
I'm like confused about Dan's graveyard.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with there.
Hey, Streamrunner, if you could get Dan to neaten up his tidy up his graveyard and exile pile a little bit.
Yeah, that'd
be a very much appreciate. Thank you.
Okay, let's make sure one of those Whirlers is exiled then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Alright,
it was just messy and awkward. That's fine.
And I thought my board state's messy and awkward.
So we have... So Dan, I think his hand is specifically Scarab God and then another land.
Yeah.
Or he's 3 cards. So do we have a
counterspell? Might get there.
It might. Do we have a counterspell? Do we have a way to remove it? I don't think we do. So that's going to be a roadblock.
I mean...
For Dan.
So I think you just get back... I don't know. Maybe, Wollo?
Draws the other Hour of Devastation. Just as... That's just a bounce spell. Ooh, I do not like this attack.
Wait, what else? I say get back Whirler Virtuoso here.
Yeah, so you can just get back Whirler Virtuoso, make a Thopter, block with the Scarab God, and the Thopter. Those trade... The Gearhulk trades for the Scarab God, and the Scarab God returns to his hand. Assuming that we saw correct and he drew Hour of Devastation.
I also like Rogue Refiner here, too.
Yeah, that's fine, too. This is not good for Aric. I would have slammed Hour of Devastation beforehand, and then you can...
That Rogue Refiner's in the graveyard. Exile.
Okay, you calm down. Calm down. Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I'm just yeah.
I don't like that play from Dan. I would have double blocked. It's the same response either way to... So if you chump block with the Rogue Refiner, then if you double block, either kills the Rogue Refiner or kills the Scarab God. And that's fine if he trades with the Scarab God. It just returns to your hand. He's already demonstrated he doesn't have a good counterspell or a way to really deal that. So this worked out for Aric in a weird way. It's really like Dan could have punished him a lot more for not playing that Hour of Devastation. But the way Dan played, Aric is getting rewarded, and it's really weird to me.
So right now, this Hour of Devastation doesn't kill this Hydra, though.
That is true.
Yeah.
So we scry that to the bottom. Aric loses a life, which I think they already did.
We took care of that.
Ooh, Dan just drawing another land there is not great, but he's a
Scarab God.
He has a Scarab God. That's He doesn't really need other threats right now. So West W, I'm not gonna say that they both. I'm not gonna say they've played very poorly. Ooh, Glorybringer. Is that lethal? It's not lethal yet.
It's pretty darn close.
It is very close. Puts him 9, but so we have a judge call here because apparently at some point before the match started or the game started, Aric had dropped a copy of Supreme Will, so he he presented a illegal deck.
Which
I guess I think we're just shuffling into the deck.
Yeah, because it's regular REL.
Yeah.
If it was comp, I think it would be a different story.
I believe if it's comp, I think that's a game loss.
No, it isn't. You know how I know this?
I'm assuming it happened to you.
Yes, I remember it was like an IQ, Super IQ at GP Charlotte.
Okay.
I delved away my cards with Tasker before, and between games 2 and 3, I shuffled and didn't put the delve cards back in. It was just a warning.
Did you catch it after the game had already started?
Yes.
Okay. So Aric goes to 1. Torment's lethal. I'm pretty sure Torment is lethal. His reaction does not make it seem like it was Torment. It was a land. I don't think he's Hour in hand. Hour.
But then like Dan just goes
buys him a turn.
No, because then Dan can just cast Scare God. Get back Glorybringer.
That is true. So you're right. I mean, does Aric... Oh, we're not activating this Bristling Hydra? Okay.
I mean, he only has 5 energy now because he had to use an energy to cast that,
That's true. Okay, so he couldn't get it back. Okay, thank you, Papa Smurf, the Mind Sculptor. It says it's deck violation, which is a warning.
Yeah.
So, does Aric have the 1-for-1 removal spell?
Yep. I mean, yep. Yeah, okay. So we have just Alright, so just
play Scarab God,
reanimate
Glorybringer, have your Hasty Dragon, Hasty Zombie Dragon.
And it can't get Fatal Push, correct?
No, it cannot get Fatal Pushed.
It's the Eternalized cards that can get Fatal Push.
Correct. So Dan, I don't think Dan can play. Oh, do we have a counter spell? Oh, okay. No, we just got him fake out.
All right, like the game. Don't think Dan. I love Dan. I love you, Dan, but just do it, as Nike say.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much he can really play around here.
Also, you remember when I said like Bristling Hydra was Danny Phantom to these decks?
Yeah.
Scarab God is Danny Phantom.
Nah, I wouldn't say that. Like, yeah, like in this situation, yes, but a lot of times you can just counter a Scarab God.
It resolves Scarab God is.
Yes. A Scarab God when you don't draw hard counter spells for like 3 to 4 turns is very good.
Either he has or he doesn't, Dan. You should exert it also for good measure.
No, you should not.
Yeah.
Okay, so Aric had a land in hand. That's going to be it for this match. It went pretty long, so hopefully we won't have that much turnaround time between rounds 3 and rounds 4.
All right, this is probably the last game.
My guess is this would be the last match, but we will see for you guys. Yeah. And that's going to be it for us here for round 3, and we will see you guys in just a few minutes. Don't go anywhere.
Probably like 30 seconds.
I'm afraid that's something I cannot allow to happen.